So, it's good to see you all here today. Just making sure that everyone is here for WTR 101, correct? Yes, good. Alright, so, I'm Professor Barr. This may or may not be your first correspondence class with me, so let me just quickly give you an introduction on who I am. I am what I call your below average, or maybe just about average on good day Joe. I don't pretend to act like I'm God's gift to the world, nor do I pretend that I know it all. Hell, I'll be the first to tell you that I know jack or shit on most days. Mostly shit. But that's no matter, because I'm at least good enough to understand certain things and notice certain things and interpolate from there. That's why you're all here today. It may be a lot more green than I am. And you may or may not know a damn thing or two about no fancy War Thunder experience or nothing. And hell, if you are, or if you do, I'm fairly certain you're supposed to be either in the very advanced course, the 501s and above, or if you're just a little bit, the 201. That's not my class. Please leave now. Or if you want to stay and corroborate or tell me, no, you're an idiot, please do. It works for me either way. But here you go. This is for those new guys among you to War Thunder. Now I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. I don't have any experience really with War Thunder on the water. So if you guys are here for naval exploits, yeah, I can't help you. I really can't. That one's you're just shit out of luck. But if you want advice in aviation or ground battles, well, now you're more in luck. I have some experience in both. For aviation, I do have some experience in fighting and in bombing. Primarily, I like to think of myself more as a bomber than a fighter. Or a dog fighter. Let's actually put the first word in there, because I mean technically bombing is also fighting. But yeah, air-to-air combat. I have more air-to-ground combat experience than I do air-to-air. So, we're gonna start here, I think, with land first, then we'll work our way to aviation. If you want aviation first, I'm sorry, I don't feel like bouncing between the two. I might though, so be ready. If that does happen, just be aware though, for right now, the story is we're going with land first and then air. Now, land is very simple to understand. This is a anti-aircraft gun that we're staring at. And I think the first thing that we need to do is understand the markers at the bottom. Now, this isn't a full collection of markers. But we can infer a lot of information from these little things right here at the bottom of your screen. Number one, it tells us if we're in aviation or if we're an army. We're an army. So, if you go up immediately one notch higher to these little numbers, like 19 here, 31 here, 29 here, what does that mean? Alright, we'll quickly cover that now. That is the experience level of our crew. Our crew has an experience level of 19. Well, what does that mean? That means that if we look at up top here in the little issue screen here, as I'll call it, this tells us different attributes of the crew as a whole and how good they are in relation. i.e., I've got a fairly kind of shit crew here. It's a kind of shit because it's not a 1, let's be fair. Where my most cracked team here, you see it's got a qualification here of experts. That means that they do things faster. You can always, by the way, hold your cursor over a part to get more information about them. Well, how do I improve my crew level and my crew qualifications? Alright. Well, you can go into training. Training also will bring you into the qualifications badge right here, where you can see all the tanks that this particular crew, in this case my crew number 1, has as tank. And you can also see exactly where and how and when. You know, I can pay to have them be qualified even more. And you can see here these little stars at the top tell me, oh, I can put crew experience points into this. And this is how you upgrade your crews. That's how you get their levels higher. Like, for example, I can give my driver even more keen vision, or make him better at driving. I can make my gunner be faster at repairing the gun if it gets damaged, or be faster at rangefinder, which I think I actually might do, or targeting. I'm not too sure which one at this particular moment. Or I can go to the loader and have him see better, or load the weapon faster, which also might not be a bad idea. Or I can have my leader get better at leading. You know, give a better overall score. Have the radio operator, say, be more accurate and quicker at calling in artillery support. Because sometimes, well, artillery is the thing you need to get the job done. There's nothing like bombing a man out of his cover to make sure that you can shoot him dead. Good times. Good times. Anyways. So that's how you train your crews. Now, we're gonna go back down here. If you follow my cursor. So that's what these numbers at the bottom mean. Now, up top, we have a bit of information. We have a picture of the tank. We have the tank name. And then we have this number here, followed by a weird symbol next to it. Now, why does it say 4.3 here, 4.0 there, 3.7 here? What does all this stuff mean? Alright, we need to go into the research tree, and this will explain some things a little bit better. Alright, so you start off, everyone starts off with, on a particular line, the reserve tanks. As you can see here, under Germany, or as it insists on calling it Deutschland, that's what the DE stands for. This is the Panzer 35T. Alright, this is a reserve tank. It's what you literally get stock standard, nothing frilly fancy about it. Now, let's go to modifications here, and we're going to hold, and I'm going to hold X on this. Notice what it says up here, PZKPFW35T. That, the PZKPFT, if you don't know, that stands for Panzerkampfwagen 35 T. In English, tank 35T. It was adopted in 1935. There you go. But you'll see that immediately underneath, a solid white bar stands for light tank. This is so a white square next to it means light tank. Okay, we're going back to Soviets because I have the rest of them here. So, what if I go up to this one that looks very similar to a bar? It looks very similar to that white bar, but it's not white. Number one, it's red. And number two, it looks like there's a notch missing in the center at the bottom, but it leaves a chunk at the top. Well, guess what? We're stepping up in weight class to a, if we hold here, medium tank. So, alright then, so what about this one right here, this number 4, in the KV-1S? It kind of looks like a bar as well, but as if it's been shifted up, that center section. Yeah, we're stepping up again into the, and you may have already figured out just by me saying we stepped up to, a heavy tank. Alright, so what about, okay, that's all well and good, Teach, say to yourself, but what about this bar with an angle at the top? What the heck does that mean? That can't be some kind of tank. Like, what tank has a heavy, seriously steep angle like that? I ain't seen no tank that say something like that. You're right, you haven't seen any tank like that. But, if I were to tell you that this gun has more penetration than the standard gun of certain sizes, that might answer some things. Or, actually, if we go to this one right here, in the SU-152, that might answer a question. 152 is how big the gun is in terms of millimeters. For those of you who speak Imperial, like I do, 152 millimeters is 6 inch. A 6-inch gun, you say? Hey, I remember I took a correspondence class with you at World of Warships, and you said, and 6-inch is a cruiser gun, isn't it? Yes, it's the standard for a lot of cruisers, which means they were firing cruiser guns. Technically, no. These are short-barreled howitzers. What's the difference between a howitzer and a full gun? Simple, length. Howitzers are short. They're really short. Where, say, cruisers' 6-inch guns are more in line with the caliber of about 55 to 60, a howitzer is more like 20! Or hell, standard is more like 15. Yeah, these things aren't very long. They're lob shells. And that tells you something. That's why they need such a steep angle. The shorter your caliber, the higher you need to elevate the gun for a given distance. And since it's so large, it can go through a lot of things. You can fire a heavier projectile. Hence, this angled square that's now in green, that's a tank destroyer. It has enough mass behind the shell, and they're typically... okay, actually, it's actually good that I have both tank destroyers here. So there's two ideas to a tank destroyer. Either you can subscribe to the idea of get a bigger hole to get a bigger shell to just lob things the size of cruiser shells and punch through with the force of a cruiser. Just throw mass at the problem and the gigantic explosive payload that it can carry. Or you can subscribe to this idea, the ASU-57, and go with velocity is your punching medium. Which, by the way, has each one has their own benefits, and we'll cover that in a little bit of time when we talk about types of shells and when you'd use certain types of shells. Alright? But understand, this one punches through with velocity, this one punches through with mass. Alright, so finally, we come to this weird thing. If you remember what I said, that this was an anti-aircraft gun, that means that this bar with the two sticking up is an anti-aircraft vehicle. Or as I do believe they call it, a SPAA, self-propelled anti-aircraft. That's what the SP stands for, self-propelled. You may also hear, actually now think about it, these tank destroyers, well, they don't call them here, they call them tank destroyers. You may also hear the term SPG. No, it's not a more different version of an RPG. Or it's not the proto version of, or sorry, no, it's not the latter version of an RPG, the SPG. No, SPG stands for self-propelled gun. I.e., it's a big boomer stick. No, not that kind of boomer. It causes a big boom out the front. Yeah, there's a reason why this thing has a giant muzzle brake on it. This thing is fun to play, by the way. The larger the... I just am a sucker for large caliber things. I just do. So, that's all we're gonna cover today. I'm gonna cover just what... Oh, wait, no, we're not. Actually, I almost missed something. I never explained the numbers next to these designators. So now you can say, okay, cool, we know what the slope you do means, and this chunk and this notch missing out. But what the hell do the numbers mean? If you can't figure that out by now, because it's been on the screen the entire time, I think you may have missed something. Yeah, it's been on the screen the entire time. Yes, it stands for battle ranking, and if you notice it says rank 2 here, that's in terms of research. So, quick explanation of what that means. The battle ranking system, which by the way it does change if we say go into a ground realistic battle. Watch your number change. This goes from it goes to a 3. Remember, this was a 3.7 in just a second ago. Let's do it again. So remember, the ZIS 12 was a 3 in ground realistic battle at BR 4.3. Arcade 3.7. Same vehicle. What does that mean? Alright, well, the battle ranking system is a very not great, but it's better than nothing, attempt to try to balance out machines' capabilities across all these nations, across all kinds of technical development that could happen. Alright, most of these were set up for planes, and I actually kind of don't know why. Okay, I know why the British is like that, because that's where I go bombing. And the US is also set up for planes, because I fight in Americans more. But there's a lot of machines... Oh, hold up. But there's a lot of machines that, to be honest, are kind of overpowered. Especially if you, say, put them against a contemporary of X vintage. Like, it wouldn't be fair to put, say, the T80U right here at 10.7 against the original T80 at 2. It wouldn't be fair. One would hands down easily destroy the other and run rings around it as well. And I literally mean the T80U would be able to run rings around the original T80. So this is a kind of way to balance machines so that you're getting roughly the same kind of experience and fighting the same kind of toughness in terms of tanks and planes, because in ground realistic battles and hell in standard ground battles, realistic battles, you're going to be facing off against planes as well. They're trying to balance it out, man. And does it work all the time? No, but they try. So that's everything you need to know. So basically, we've covered the entirety of the bottom bar here. If you couldn't figure out the bar up top, where it says US, DE, SU, GB, JP, CN, IT, FR, SE, and IL with the little flags, I really can't help you. I honestly just can't. It's like, that one's the most obvious, and I'm actually not even going to bother dignifying you with the, no, seriously, I don't get it. Well, too bad. I guess you'll never know. But next week, we are going to cover then some, for next week, we're gonna cover the. I said next week. I don't know when you're gonna see this correspondence class. But next episode, then, in the series, we'll cover the guns and the shells, because, well, you can't have one without the other. They're like love and marriage. Notice I never said how long love and marriage have to go together, but they have to go together for at least the first tiny bit of it. So, thank you guys so much for watching yet another For Those New Guys Among You 2. And for this case, it's War Thunder. And for those new guys among you too, War Thunder, get out there and start practicing with your given mode of fighting in this game. I swear to God, we will cover aviation. Definitely start off with ground if you're going to learn. Because, well, we're covering ground now.